At 6 in the morning, I woke up to the sound of a crowbar smashing through $180,000 worth of British engineering and some wannabe HOA cop screaming, "Community enforcement, smash it," like he was storming a cartel hideout instead of my driveway. You ever hear safety glass explode before sunrise? It doesn't shatter politely. It detonates, echoes off quiet suburban houses like a gunshot. And there I was, barefoot on cold tile, staring through the front window while my wife's brand new Rolls-Royce got vandalized by a man in a polyester security shirt 2 sizes too small. Let me back up. 24 hours earlier, we were on top of the world. My wife Elena, 15 years grinding through night shifts, domestic calls, drug busts, proving herself in a department that treated female officers like temporary experiments, had just been sworn in as the first female police chief in our county's history. 15 years of hell, and she finally got the badge with the star on it. She walked out of that ceremony glowing. "We're buying it," she told me in the parking lot, grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. "The Cullinan. Signing bonus just cleared. We earned this." And she was right. From a crummy apartment and ramen dinners to a house in Willowbrook Heights, manicured lawns, mailbox posts that probably cost more than my first pickup, we'd climbed our way here. I run a contracting business retrofitting homes for disabled vets. Honest work. Hard work, nothing flashy. That Rolls wasn't a flex, it was proof. We parked it in our driveway that night. Silver paint gleaming under the streetlight mountain air, crisp leather still smelling new. Elena ran her hand along the hood and whispered, "Look at us." Across the street, designer heels clicked against pavement. Delilah Thornwick, HOA president. 7 years reigning over Willowbrook like some suburban empress. Real estate license revoked under mysterious circumstances. Rumor had it now channeling that energy into community standards. She stared at our car like it had personally offended her bloodline. And the next morning at 6 sharp, she sent in her army. I stepped outside with my coffee just in time to see a fake citation slapped on the windshield, luxury vehicle display violation code 47B. Code 47B didn't exist. I checked the handbook while my coffee went cold. Then came the diesel rumble. Tow truck. Jake, her unemployed nephew turned community standards enforcement officer, hopped out holding a crowbar like he'd just discovered masculinity on YouTube. "Elena's big day," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Let's not do this. Community safety supersedes property rights." Delilah snapped, filming on her phone like she was producing a documentary titled "How I Saved the Suburbs." Jake couldn't get the locked car onto the tow bed, so Delilah said the sentence that changed her life. "Break the window, emergency access." The first swing cracked it, the second swing shattered it, and that's when the front door opened. Elena stepped out in full dress uniform. Polished boots, new chief's badge catching the morning sun. She stopped mid-step when she saw the glass glittering across the driveway like diamonds spilled from a broken vault. The air went dead quiet. "What happened to my car?" she asked. You ever hear authority in a voice so calm it feels dangerous? That was her. "Community enforcement," Delilah puffed. Elena didn't flash her badge, didn't yell. She pulled out her phone and started recording. "For insurance," she said gently, "please repeat your legal authority." And Delilah, God bless overconfidence, doubled down. "I wrote code 47B myself." There it was, confession on video. Elena's eyebrow twitched. "That tiny movement, I've learned, means someone just dug their own grave." "Interesting," she said. "And which state statute allows you to break private property?" "HOA emergency powers. Except here's the twist Delilah didn't know. Willowbrook Heights HOA didn't legally exist. Elena had checked that morning. Original developer went bankrupt before filing final incorporation documents. No registration with the Secretary of State. No lawful authority. Just paper intimidation and 7 years of bluff. Which meant every fine, every threat, every foreclosure notice, fraud. And Delilah didn't know we knew. That afternoon we started knocking on doors. Quiet conversations. Mrs. Patterson showed us footage of the smashing. Harold down the street had kept records of fines. Betty had spreadsheets that would make the IRS blush. Then came the bombshell. Delilah had collected $127,000 in fines from a corporation that legally didn't exist, and she knew. We found emails on her computer later that said maintaining resident ignorance of incorporation status is essential. You ever feel a moment when the story flips? When you go from victim to hunter? That was it. Delilah scheduled an emergency mandatory HOA meeting. $500 fine for non-attendance. We smiled. She'd just gathered every witness in one room. The night before the meeting, she panicked. Issued $1,000 emergency assessments. threatened elderly families, tried to confiscate Mrs. Patterson's security footage. Jake attempted a citizen's arrest. He ended up in cuffs. Then at 2 a.m., Delilah escalated. She and her last two enforcers tried breaking into Mrs. Patterson's house to seize evidence. Crowbar, backdoor, cloud-recorded security system. When patrol units arrived, Delilah was standing on the lawn screaming about HOA emergency search powers. Elena stepped out of the cruiser. "Delilah," she said calmly, "you're under arrest." You should have seen her face when she realized who she'd declared war on. The next evening, 78 households packed the community center. Delilah wasn't there. Jail tends to mess with attendance. Her attorney tried to shut it down. Then Elena stood up. "I'm Chief Elena Ramirez," she said. The room went silent. Harold projected the Secretary of State database, 0 results for Willowbrook Heights HOA. Gasps, then anger. 7 years of intimidation evaporated in 10 minutes. Betty showed the money trail, charts, timelines, threat letters. Elena laid it out clean. $127,000 collected through fraud, impersonation of authority, and elder abuse. And right on cue, federal agents walked in and arrested Jake and the rest. Justice doesn't always move fast, but when it lands hard. 6 months later, Delilah pled guilty to racketeering, theft by deception, and elder abuse. 18 months federal prison. Restitution paid back $143,000 with interest. Every family got their money. Rodriguez reinstalled his daughter's wheelchair ramp protected by federal law Delilah had ignored. Mrs. Henderson took her first vacation in years. And Willowbrook Heights, it changed. You know what I learned through all this? Power doesn't corrupt nearly as often as insecurity does. Delilah wasn't protecting property values. She was protecting her ego. She needed control, needed to feel superior. And when someone threatened that illusion, a new car, a new family, a woman becoming police chief, she tried to crush it. But here's the thing. Authority isn't what you shout. It's what the law actually gives you. And when you fake it long enough, eventually someone who understands the rules shows up. Our replacement Rolls-Royce sits in the driveway now, insurance-covered, restitution paid. No crowbars, no fake citations. On Saturday mornings, we sit on the porch with coffee. Kids ride bikes where Jake once patrolled with his plastic badge. The neighborhood started a legitimate community trust instead of a pretend HOA, transparency, elected board, real audits. Turns out when fear leaves, community actually shows up. And sometimes I think about that first morning. Glass exploding, diesel fumes, Delilah smiling into her phone like she'd just won. If Elena had come out angry instead of calm, if we'd reacted instead of documented, if Mrs. Patterson hadn't recorded, it might have gone differently. So here's the question I keep circling back to. When someone abuses fake authority over you, do you fight fire with fire? Or do you hand them enough rope and let the truth do the work? Where's the line between standing up for yourself and becoming what you hate? I'd love to hear what you would have done. Would you have lost it when they smashed the car? Called the cops immediately, sued on the spot? Or waited and built the case like we did? Drop your thoughts. Tell me if you've ever dealt with a power-tripping HOA or someone who thought they were untouchable. Because trust me, sometimes karma doesn't knock politely. Sometimes it shows up with handcuffs.